So, you want to attract more of our little feathered friends into your garden? Well, this video's for you. So before I take you to one of our feeding stations here on our property, a couple of things I want to just point out very, very quickly. If you want to attract more and more birds into your garden, it's not just about the food, okay? It's also about a couple of other things as well. Number one, water is really, really important. A lot of people completely forget about this, but if you want to attract birds to your garden and do it on a consistent basis, if you're feeding them, you've got to provide fresh, clean water as well. It doesn't need to be mineral water, right? Sparkling, or, you know, it doesn't need to have come down a mountain in the middle of France or anything like that, but bottom line is clean water. So make sure you've got some water baths and that sort of type of thing, because not only are they going to be drinking that water, they're also going to be bathing in that water as well. And I absolutely love watching birds bathe. It's one of the cutest little things ever, right? So that's number one, water. And number two, you've got to make sure that your feeding station, particularly things like hanging feeders and that sort of type of thing, are cleaned on a regular basis. Doesn't mean you've got to do it every single time you top up the feeders, but pretty regularly, right? Every 2 or 3 feeds or refills of the feeds, you need to go ahead and make sure that those are cleaned out as well. And just do it with literally just warm water, give it a little bit of a scrub with a soft cloth, and you're as good as gold. So without further ado, let's get over to the feeding station that I'm going to be preparing today. It's completely empty. The poor little things are probably starving right now. So let's go and correct that. When it comes to feeding our garden birds here in the UK, and this is probably pretty much the same all over the world, I would have thought. Generally speaking, you've got 3 different types of foods. You've got your straight foods, which means they're not mixed with anything. You've got mixed seeds and that sort of type of thing. And then you've got other types of foods such as suet balls, suet mix, even little things like these suet mixes that hang on these little coconut husks and that sort of type of thing. Either way, the birds are going to absolutely love them. But obviously, some foods will attract different types of birds. So depending on what you're wanting to attract into your garden, you've got to take that into consideration. So straight foods, for example, things like our black sunflower seeds here. These will be in the husks, so they'll have to be obviously bashed open by the birds in order to enjoy. We've got things like these dried mealworms here. Live mealworms, very important, particularly during the hatching season, the breeding season, fledgling season, that kind of thing, so that all of the ground feeding birds specifically here in the UK, things like European robins, that kind of stuff, can get that back to the nest and into the little ones' mouths. And we've got other straight feeds, things like peanuts here. Just be careful that you're feeding peanuts that are only for bird consumption, not human consumption, because of all the additives. And then we've got mixed seeds, mixed seed mixes, and things like, going back to the suet balls as well, which blue tits, long-tailed tits, great tits, they lose their minds for anything with suet in it. So that pretty much covers all of the food. Now let's go on to the actual feeders themselves. So generally, you're looking at 2 different types of feeders. The first type of feeder is a hanging feeder, such as this, which we will obviously put our suet balls into. And then you've got, you know, other things like these sort of types of feeders here, where they've got perches for the birds to actually perch on and feed from directly. This is perfect for things like mixed seeds and that sort of type of thing. You've got your peanut feeder as well. You must always make sure that when you're feeding peanuts, you're doing it in a metal mesh sort of type of case, so that birds don't get the entire nut out and end up trying to swallow it in their gannet frenzy and ultimately end up choking on an entire peanut. So make sure metal meshing on that side of things. And then the second type of feeder is either something that you would put on the floor or something you would put on a bird feeder kind of station, and it's an open type feeder. And that sort of type of feeder is the type of thing that you would put food in for any sort of ground feeding birds, such as robins, for example. So what I'm going to do now is spend a little bit of time putting all the food into the feeders and putting them on the feeding station, so our feathered friends can enjoy a good munching. Now we've got a few different feeding stations here on our property. However, this is the one that's closest to the house itself. So this is the one that we kind of use our binoculars for when enjoying, you know, the sights and sounds, so to speak, particularly first thing in the morning. So first up with our suet balls, those will go over there. And then we've got our peanuts, which, I mean, we have everything from, you know, any of the tit variety, love the peanuts. We've got great spotted woodpeckers here, magpies, although they're a little big. I prefer for the smaller birds to come in a little bit more often. But yeah, pretty much everybody loves the peanuts. Then we've got our first mixed seed mix here, and then our second, because they love this so much. We tend to just put 2 of these out pretty much everywhere. Plus, if I'm to be honest, it's the cheapest bird food that you can buy. The other thing also is, although not much seed will drop from this particular one here, this one here at the back, some of the seed will actually drop onto the floor, which is a good thing because some of those floor feeding birds or ground feeding birds, they just feel safer eating on the floor. Simple as that. Last but not least, we've got our coconut husk here, which we're going to put just at the very, very top here, like so. And I'm going to add in some mealworms, dried, on the ground feeder tray that we've got here. I'll also include some additional sunflower seeds, like so. Give them a bit of a mix. And that is it. Our bird feeding station is now set up. We can sit back, enjoy a nice cup of tea, and wait for our friends to arrive. So there you have it, our own little guide on how you can attract more of our feathered friends into your own garden, no matter where you are. Now, I'd love to know, what's your favourite bird to spot enjoying a feast in your garden? For me, it's the nuthatch. I love how mischievous and funny they look when they're perched on little logs or hanging off the side of a tree, enjoying some feed, obviously. So just comment below, let me know what your favourite bird is. That would be fantastic. And don't forget, when you're here, hit like on this video, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss another video from us in the future. Till then, take good care and enjoy your countryside journey. Bye for now.